7 minutes after 9 o'clock, it's time for In the Garden with Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann is here to answer your questions. If you would like to call, you are invited to do that. It's a full-hour show, so you got plenty of time to call in. The earlier, the better, because some of the questions that you might ask require a little bit more of an answer. So the number is 622-9622. Good morning, Carol Ann.
Good morning, Larry. Good morning.
How's everything in your world?
It's all going well. It's what is this? Thanksgiving, the eve of Thanksgiving.
Eve, yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
That works. Everybody getting ready for food and all that good stuff. And so it was all.
I found an article for you. Did you happen to look at it?
I did look through it. It's some 29 secrets your houseplants would tell you if they could.
If they could, yeah.
If they could. Which, yeah, some of it. I mean, some of it's common sense for us that do plants.
Well, even for me that doesn't do plants, it said don't let your dog dig in the plant.
Right. It's
well, whatever.
Kill bugs on the potted plant. Yeah, no kidding. But no, this one's is actually, and no, I would not put mothballs in a bag because mothballs only kill moths.
They say do or don't? They
say do. And it's like, no, that's not the proper way of using mothballs. Thank you. But, there's a few of them on there that are kind of neat that, prevent your pets from digging in large potted plants. Yeah, okay.
I know.
Keep your plants labeled. Plant. That's always nice. Yeah. I actually say on the thing of keep plants labeled, when you buy a new plant, what you might do is you keep that tag. Maybe keep it with the plant for a little bit. Yeah. But then if you have, I know nobody hardly. Boy, is that good grammar. Today, not too many people use actual photo albums, but I think you can still buy them, and especially like the ones from like the 3x5 prints. Yeah. That if you have one of those, you can put your tags from your plants. And actually, if you're buying from some places, I know Lowe's, I'm not sure about Walmart or Home Depot, you offer warranties, guarantees on the plants. Mm-hmm. So if you've bought something, if you can keep your tag so you know what it was and your receipt tucked in there, that also helps the receipt from fading, because they all seem to use invisible or fading ink. Yeah, all receipts seem to be like that. You would know what you bought and when. So if should something happen to it, not on annuals and vegetables and things, but even if it's an annual, you'll know what you planted. So whether or not you had good success the year before or not.
I didn't know they guarantee them, though. That's
on perennials, trees, shrubs, those kind of things, but not on, herbs and vegetables or annuals, because annuals live one season, boom, that's it. We can't guarantee you 1 year if the plant's not expected to live that long. Right. So, but most of the plants are actually 1 year plant guarantee. Even if you're the one who killed it, we end up doing it. So, but on some of those, so that's that's a good thing on keeping the tag, keeping it with it, and even actually if you're going to give a plant, I wouldn't say if you're going to give a plant for a gift this time of year, because poinsettias, Christmas cactus, things like that are considered holiday plants. They again are not going to be warranted to bloom for you next year because they're sold as just like I think even Bob Wines tells you on their gift certificates, or they used to, that it was not for like the holiday things necessarily that they'd get, because it's something special. It's different. It's a little different thing.
Seems risky to warranty a plant. It seems like that's
well, but I mean on certain things they're saying that the quality of their plants is worthy of.
I could understand the tree because it's a big expense, but something.
Well, trees, shrubs, and perennials. That perennials are not going to drop dead on you. So.
Some of them are so cheap though, like 55 cents.
Well, but that's not something that would be warranted.
Oh, okay.
Right, that would be more of an annual.
See, what do I know?
So things are good, but it is kind of a neat thing, that it's tired of ugly dirt. Use small ground covers, which we kind of, we let people know. And actually, and what's funny is in the stores you can buy Spanish moss. Yeah. Well, we have it here,
is it dead?
But it's dead. It's been cleaned and that kind of stuff, which I guess you could do yourself if you have Spanish moss. You could you could pick it up, put it in a bucket of I think they say like hot bleach water or something like that, to where you're going to kill off whatever, and then let it air dry nicely before you'd start to use it on around the top of the plants to keep either keep the pets out also and just to not see dirt. When you're looking at houseplants and things. What are some of the other ones?
You could gather some and sell it to our northern neighbors. Huh?
Yeah, well, they get it by the package too. My cousin used to collect it when they'd come for a visit. The different mosses.
Oh, really?
Because they were different. But it's
Did they get chiggers all over their skin?
I don't think so. I think she just put them in well, probably at that time. I don't know if there was Ziploc bags. Probably not when she because she was like a teen. And
what if you boil it? I think I heard if you boil it.
Yeah, boiling it, because that's going to kill off the insects in there. Okay, here's one of those things that I don't agree with, and it says use ice cubes to water.
Okay.
Plants don't like cold water. Because there's somewhere in here that it also says use room temperature water.
So why would you use ice cubes? I mean, what's
probably
what's
because of measurement. Because if you've got some things that place them around the soil but not touching the stem, the ice will melt slowly, releasing water gradually and evenly into the soil. I've heard of people using that for orchids, and to me, orchids especially don't like cold water. I use room temperature water, or I'll have a tendency if it's room temperature water feels a little cold, I'll run that tap a little more to the warm side, and get a little bit of warm water, or if it happened, because I'll use some rainwater even if that seems a little warm, a little cold. I'll wait till a sunny day to use that so that the water just feels a little warmer.
Well, let me ask you something. You mentioned before we went on the air that you have a bowl for water for your dog or your cat?
Oh, it's the cat. Yeah, the cat water bowl. Yeah.
So that dispenses water as it's needed, right?
Right.
Is there such a thing for a plant?
In a way, there's self-watering pots. Yeah, there are some that you can actually that's watering from the bottom. You fill the reservoir, and the roots from the plant take it up.
Oh, okay.
There's some other ones that they either call them water wick or water wicking systems, which you can do yourself too, and that's actually a pot inside of a pot. And with like houseplants, you would put like a cotton wick up into the soil and make sure that it comes out of the bottom of the pot, the one with the holes, and then your decorative pot sits in there and holds your water, and the wick sips up the water.
Oh, that's a good idea. Is that better?
It's very good for houseplants because it allows you to leave them for several days.
Okay.
And if you were going to, or say you do a lot of traveling and you have some, I'd say more smaller houseplants where you can set up a tray and put stones so they're not sitting right in that water, and put those wicks down in that water, fill that tray up. Make sure they're that they're not dry before you leave. So don't wait until, I'll fill this with water and we're going to be gone 2 weeks. No, make sure they're not water stressed before that, and then put them with the stones, and water in a reservoir.
It's a good idea.
And that way they can sip up the water, and keep them healthy.
Here's a seasonal question. So let's say Black Friday comes in 2 days, 3 days, and we want to get some Christmas potted plants as Christmas gifts. But we're not going to give them until Christmas.
Right.
So, and let's say I'm the guy who I am. I'm not a gardener. I don't know anything about them. So what do I do? How do I keep them good so that on Christmas?
Are we talking about like holiday plants? Or are we talking about just any plant?
So the question makes me think there's a different technique for different plants.
It would be, because your holiday plants are something usually would be like your Christmas cactus or your poinsettias and things like that, which a lot of times they'll have a foil paper around them. So watering has to be done carefully. You're either lifting that out of there and watering, but they really, if say the poinsettias, for example, if you leave it in that foil and select one that still has its plastic sleeve so that it holds in some humidity, keeps them from breakage, and they don't need water quite as quickly. So that they'll actually hold for a few days. Yes, after say 4 days or so, 5 days, you might need to take that down or put your finger in there and see if it needs a little water. And then you're talking just small quantities of water at a time. You don't want that foil to, you don't want it to run out of the bottom where you've got a puddle, or as I call it, looks like a soggy diaper, on the bottom of that. And just put them in a well-lit area. I wouldn't keep them in the dark, but don't put them out in the sun either. Same thing with the Christmas cactus you might purchase. Amaryllis, those are coming out for the holidays. With some of those, though, it's more, I would almost say more for holiday decorating, because the amaryllis that I'm seeing coming into the stores that are potted, not the ones in the boxes, but no, the ones in the boxes are sprouting already too. The ones that are potted are already coming up with flower bud because they want them there for you. So if I was going to be giving them as a gift, I would hope that my party that I'm going to exchange them or give them at is coming soon, so that person has an opportunity to enjoy them.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. So
holding on to them from Black Friday till December 25th.
Till December 25th you might be handing them something that's already pretty near bloomed out.
Oh no.
Or pretty close to that, and they're not able to enjoy that as much. If you're looking to give a plant for Christmas, you might do better just getting a gift certificate.
That's really a better idea.
Yeah, that you can give them, hey, Bob Wines does gift certificates. The big big box stores all have gift cards. Other independent nurseries all have gift certificates, and sometimes they even print them up attractively for the holidays.
Yeah.
That, hey, I want to buy you something, but I want you to get the plant you really want.
Right, yeah.
So
we have the phone lines open if you'd like to call Carol Ann. The number is 622-9622. That works out to 622 WOCA, and Carol Ann invites you to call her. So if you have a question, you just want to say Happy Thanksgiving, you're welcome to do all of the above.
And we can talk about food if we want. We have food and plants all go hand in hand.
And you're a culinary person too.
Yeah, I like food. I'm a little.
But I mean, you studied it, right?
I did a little bit in school. Yeah, I didn't go on to big stuff, but in high school was where mine came from.
Yeah.
I mean, today's high school culinary classes are way far superior to what was out there.
So I have a question about turkey.
Yeah. Okay.
Why does turkey the day after Thanksgiving taste way better than like when you get a package of turkey and you make a turkey sandwich?
Because it's not processed as.
Oh, that's whole process?
Yeah. I mean, if you mean a package of turkey, like lunch meat counter turkey?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's, that's been...
What do they do to it?
Cooked and processed. It has, well, depending on the brand, preservatives or...
Like from the deli, when you go ask them, give me a half pound of turkey, it does not taste like the day after Thanksgiving.
No, it doesn't. Well, because of the different, like I said, it's usually, when I think of deli lunch meat, it's very processed.
And we have a phone call. You ready?
Yes.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Say, next month, Christmas is on Tuesday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, so are we going to have a recording, or are you going to be live?
I know Larry usually plays Christmas music, so I doubt if I'll be live.
You know what we'll do? We'll get the guitar and get one of your favorite songs, and you just sing
a Christmas
song.
Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, that'd go over real well. You don't want people to change stations,
I wish you would. That would be fun. That would be fun to do.
See, the forest fires out in California, it's just been a tremendous tragedy.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of coverage on different channels about it and why it was and everything else, and they've been in an extreme drought out there for over 5 years now. And one of the programs that I was listening to, I don't know if it was on Discovery or History, I forget which one it was, but they were going into detail, and they were talking to the pilots that dropped that stuff that puts the fires out.
The flame rate, everything else.
But they were saying they had somebody from the forest department, and they did a survey several months back about the conditions of the forest out there, and they discovered, and they figured they had 130 million dead trees in that area.
Wow.
And they reported that to the government, and the government did not come up with any funding to do anything about it, and it just, it did turn into the big fire. So there could have been some things that could have been done to help that situation, but because of the money factor there, and the government didn't want to do anything, and that's just, so you had a big fire.
Yep. And that's forestry management. I think here in Florida we have a really good management system within our forestry departments of controlled burns that they do on a timely or regular, I hate to say regular basis. They work on different areas as it's needed. And of course we do harvest some out of our national forest, the timber industry harvests some, which I think at times probably rejuvenates and allows, the new growth, the fresh growth that removes some of that dead material out of the forestry areas. I know a lot of times with environmental type things, leaving some dead trees, because you'll notice if you ever drive through the forest, when they do harvest trees, that they leave dead trees, what they call snags, S-N-A-G-S, snags, standing up there, and there's like nothing but, 3 dozen dead trees out in this huge area. Well, because those are perch spots for birds of prey. They are still viable parts of the forest. Yeah. And so the removal of all that, dead is not something we necessarily want to do. Dead trees have insects in them that certain birds and other animals feed from.
Right.
But I do think it is forestry management, probably beginning within the local, I don't want to say counties, but the state versus the federal government, kind of thing, that they're just better management, better, on that kind of thing, which, I'm not fully, I'm not fully informed, but I know here we have some, when there starts to become issues, they do programs. Forestry Department does programs on, how to protect your home and your dwellings and your property from the fire, the risks of fire, especially if you back up onto forest lands, of watching where the vines are, that you don't want that, because that becomes just a pathway for fire to cross along. Your fence line, what is right there, grasses and things like that can be just that bridge from a wildfire into your home.
Right. Well, I live out here in Silver Springs, and I'm right up against the National Forest, and there's a lot of forest around me, and there's often controlled burns, which is good. And it's amazing how fast the ground cover returns after a fire like that.
Yes, and sometimes those controlled burns actually assist. I mean, it does assist in rejuvenating those areas, because it does remove the dead and decaying material that's there, releasing that back into the ground, as well as there's some seed that actually needs heat, needs that scarification, needs that burn off of that outer husk for it to begin to germinate. And so it's a benefit in both, in many, many different ways. A lot of people don't, a lot of people are afraid of it or don't care for it, but because of the smoke that it's emitting and the possibility that the temporary relocation of wildlife, but you figure if nature strikes a lightning bolt, what are you going to do? Or if someone is careless with fire or all-terrain vehicles and things like that, fireworks, all kinds of stuff that could light a fire accidentally, I'd rather see the control burns.
Right. I would imagine, because of our climate, we always have a lot of humidity in the air, and the times when it's really bad for a start of a fire are very far and few between. But I would say, out in California, they probably don't have controlled burns because of the fact that it would probably get out of control immediately,
It's possible. I mean, like you say, they've been in such drought conditions for a while, but I understand they're supposed to be getting some rain. I heard some, a report I thought this morning or last night that was saying that they are expecting some rain. But it depends, they'll get these horrible fires and then they'll get all kinds of rain and then they just have mudslides.
Right, yeah, one bad to the other.
Right. With us, when we've had some serious fires here in the state of Florida, humidity has been low. We have gone through periods of drought that makes these trees very tinderful, and the ground very, and then it becomes difficult to do the controlled burn to prevent those fires. They try to do it to where they backburn, using the wind to actually carry the flame back into the fires and stop the spread that way. And I'm sure fighting these fires, they're doing very similar things. But it's just, if you can't get rain, it's, you're not getting the benefit. You're not getting natural ways of trying to remedy those.
Yeah, well, California and the West Coast out there is basically not a real rainy area to begin with. They do get their rain season, but it is nothing like here.
Right. And so, it's more management.
Yeah, in a way, it's been interesting watching all these different programs about why the forest fires were the forest fires there, and how like the Forest Department completely did all the surveying on the situation with all these 100 million dead trees and this, that, and whatnot, and then the government letting people still build homes wherever they wanted to build them there, and it was just a recipe for disaster, and it happened. So it's not nature's fault in a way. It's the way we handle it,
That's right. It's the management of those areas, and that's exactly right. Just nature can only do so much, and man-made management and lack thereof many times most of the times is the culprit.
Yeah, in closing here real quick, one stat that really, I still think about it, and that fire was so fast and so furious, it was burning an acre a minute.
Yes, and that was it. And with God bless the families of those, the death toll that has happened. Usually you have some warning that you can get out. And this just had none. And this upcoming holiday season, we're thankful for our families and friends, and just say an extra few words to the man upstairs to look out for those other families over there in California.
Yeah, exactly, and I really believe that the death toll is going to go way over, probably over 200-300.
Yeah,
I almost think so. How they described it. So,
sure.
Well, anyways, we're wet and having a pretty good fall here, and we had a little cool spell, and now the weather looks like it's going to to be nice for Turkey Day and the rest of the week. So everything's fine and dandy in Florida.
That's it. All right.
Yeah. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're up against a break. Do we have anything to give away?
We have two gift certificates to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens and Nurseries, or $20 gift certificates. So we can take two listeners, and so we can
do that right now. We'll be right back.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. A police officer and the gunman's ex-fiancée are among 4 people dead in a shooting at a hospital in Chicago. Officer Samuel Jimenez was 28 years old, married with 3 children.
Officials say emergency room doctor Tamara O'Neill had been in a relationship with the attacker, and pharmacy tech Dana Less had recently graduated from Purdue. Officer Jimenez had been on the force less than 2 years. Police say it's not clear if the gunman took his own life or was shot by officers.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Police in Baldwin, Missouri, that's a St. Louis suburb, are looking for a man who shot and killed one woman at a Catholic religious supply store and attacked at least one other woman.
A sexual assault did occur inside the store. I don't know how many victims.
The woman who was shot was taken to a hospital but didn't make it. Police spokesman Sean McGuire says he does not know if religion was a factor in the attacker's motive or why this store was targeted. It's in a strip mall on a busy road. This is Fox News.
It's the holiday sales event at Ford. It's a big deal, and we're busy making preparations to get you the best deals of the year. Because unlike Santa's presents, ours don't just magically appear. At Ford, ours are built in real factories, where pickup trucks come with best-in-class towing and payload, where SUVs are built with available features like terrain management and driver assist technologies, and where every bolt, stitch, and line of code is tested and tested again. But you don't have to write Santa a letter to get these presents. Naughty or nice, just come see your Ford dealer during our holiday sales event for our best offers of the year. Ford, built for the holidays. Built Ford proud.
Best-in-class towing and payload when properly configured. Class as light-duty pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR based on Ford segmentation.
Here is your one-minute news brief. Florida's election results will be certified today, 2 weeks after close races for governor, U.S. Senate, and agriculture commissioners set up an unprecedented 3 statewide recounts. Marion County deputies have arrested a 21-year-old man for having sex with a miniature male pony named Jackie G. A witness reported that she witnessed the man having sex with Jackie G in a pasture. The man's future contact with the horse could be in jeopardy. Brightline will change its name to Virgin Trains after a business partnership was announced for the high-speed rail service in Florida. A man wanted on an attempted murder charge is in critical condition after a deputy and a police officer fired at him during a chase in De Leon Springs. The population of the rhesus monkeys at Silver Springs State Park will double by the year 2022. Officials will decide what to do about that. And Disney Springs will kick off the holiday shopping season with its Black Friday weekend with specials for all of Disney's parks. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Hey Ocala, it's officially time to decorate, and your first stop is Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala. Just arrived. A huge selection of Christmas cactus and poinsettias and living Christmas trees and much, much more. Christmas cactus, the best in town. They're budded and blooming in the 4.5-inch size. They're just $3.99. Poinsettias, Bob Wines has a huge selection. You get 3 4-inch pots for just $10. And oh, those Christmas trees. Choose from Robin Blue Cedar or Carolina Blue Sapphire. Prices start as low as $19.99 and go up to about $90. Other great gift ideas too everywhere for your home or anyone's Christmas decor. Check this week's ad at bobwinescameliagardens.net. Now they're closed Thanksgiving through Saturday, so get there early this week. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala, the same blooming place since 1952.
The College of Central Florida is committed to being your first choice for quality higher education. CF has locations in Marion, Citrus, and Levy counties and offers more than 60 academic programs. Earn a certificate, associate, or bachelor's degree. With Florida's 2+2 program, a student can complete an associate in arts at CF and be guaranteed admission to a state of Florida university. CF is ranked number 13 in the U.S. for affordability, is military friendly, and offers a full student life experience. Make CF your first choice. Call 352-873-5800.
Howdy folks, RL here for Dairy Queen. As fall approaches, it seems our taste buds change gears and things like char-grilled hot dogs with chili come to mind. Also, I got a crow about our most tasty grilled and crispy chicken breast sandwiches. And everybody knows about our world-famous chicken tenders and pepper cream gravy. Mmm, good. But you might just want a banana split or a blizzard for dessert. Dairy Queen, Silver Springs, where we always treat you like kings and queens.
All right, thank you, Ron. 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's return to Carol Ann Baldwin. We are in the garden with Carol Ann, and your phone calls are an important part of this show. If you would like to call in, please do so. The number is 352-622-9622. And don't forget, Carol Ann has created a companion Facebook page called In the Garden.
Yeah.
Sign up to be on that, and you'll be able to actually show the plants, the bugs, the gardening stuff.
If you got a question, if you just want to know, look, I grew this, it's pretty. We like those too.
I like that page.
Yeah, or look at all this that I harvested. Those are the good ones too. God,
you know what your page is? It's a political free zone.
That's it. No politics.
It's politically free. I can go there and not worry about that nonsense.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh,
don't want that. And actually, somebody had tried, and all I did was delete the posts. And I figured, okay, I've deleted it. I deleted it twice, and if you do it again, I will delete you. But I didn't need to.
Did you tell them that?
No, all I did was just delete. You know, it's just I don't know if anybody had seen them. All I did was delete.
They tried to pull a fast one, huh?
Yeah, and it's like I'm not. Yeah, hopefully it wasn't. It's just It's not it's a garden page. It's not it's not my personal page. It's y'all's page. I mean, I just happen to be the administrator. So that's all. But no politics. It's all plants.
That's
all plants,
what I like.
all stuff to eat, plant questions, bug questions, whatever you got. And I mean, some of it, I guess you could say some of it might get political, only because, we might get into a discussion or have some information on maybe hot topics in the industry, GMOs, insecticides, things like that.
That's different, though.
That's right,
Yeah,
right.
that's
it can be a discussion
political in a way,
but not, but it's at least related to the in the garden topic at hand. So we try to keep it at that.
Yeah.
But always like to see the food stuff or whatever, whatever you've grown that's nice and things like that. But just thinking, here with the holiday season, and that we are, coming into our winter, it's been a little more seasonable. It was a little chilly last week. But that's always that first cold front is always feels colder than it actually is. But if you're thinking about plants that maybe you've kept out on the patio, on the porch all summer long, or all 9 months out of the year, they live outside. But then there's those times where you've got to bring them in. Instead of trying to figure out how to, bring them in every time we get cold, and then you got to haul them back out and bring them back in, is maybe you might try to find a spot in the house where they would be happy for just that time period, instead of the in and out. Let them get acclimated to the inside before it's excessively cold. They'll get a little more used to the humidity. You'll get used to them being in there so that they get watered and cared for. This might mean purchasing, say, a grow light so they have enough light, that maybe you have a spare room. You can have some type of plant stand in front of a window that would give them that space, or a Florida room where you just invite those plants in the house for the winter months, and then once we stay consistently warm in the springtime, is to go ahead and take them back out. It, I think, does a lot less shock to the plant if you do it that way than waiting till it's suddenly our nighttime temperatures are down in the upper 30s, and you're going, oh, this plant doesn't like that, and suddenly you bring it in the house and it's 76 degrees in there. And that plant's going to go, whoa, it feels nice in here, but it was cold out there. And you may end up with some wilt, some shock and things like that. So to bring it in while the temperatures are still moderate, and find them a location and things like that where you can put them, you can set them up, you can enjoy your plants indoors for a few months, and then, bring them back outside in the springtime. I know. Actually, folks up north have to do that all the time. So if you're from the north, you might remember doing that.
Yeah.
All of our plants when I was a kid all came into the kitchen. The dining room table had to move to fit the plants behind, because that was where the sliding glass door. That's where the light could come through, and they would survive the winter there, and then in springtime they would go right back out the door and enjoy outside. But yeah, it's better usually to bring them in. That way they can acclimate to that. And you got to watch your humidity. Some, in the house, that certain plants do prefer a higher humidity. That's why they do well with us in Florida. And if our heat is running, even the AC unit, you may need to make sure that you can provide something that's going to increase that humidity in the area where your plants are. And this little sheet says, misting doesn't really do much for humidity. It helps. Well-watered plants or properly watered plants are going to give you a bit more humidity, and even grouping them a little bit closer together, they may be a little bit happier that way. And the whole thing, the wicking up of the water, just getting one of the plant saucers and filling it full of the stones, and maybe those plants that like the little more humidity, put the water on there and just set the pot there. Just that moisture evaporating into the air in that grouping, of plants is going to help with the humidity. Watch that you don't have your air conditioner vent, your register vent there in the floor or wherever, blowing right on them, because they're not going to be real happy with that either. So if you can directionally aim that, they make the little hoods that'll aim it, away from them, think about that. Or
and do they recover, like if they do get shocked like that?
Yeah, they usually do, but they may drop some leaves and be a little mad at you for a bit. And and they may even do that anyway, just because of they're going from an area that's much brighter into the home that it's the lighting is different and things like that. That's I said sometimes maybe a specific grow light type bulb or bulbs that are emitting more natural light tones are might be something you might go with in that particular room.
If you're listening and you would like to call in, Carol Ann is live right now. The number is 622-9622. We invite your call if you want to say Happy Thanksgiving or ask a question about your lawn, your garden, a thought that you have for gift giving. You might want to kind of ask about that as well. Right. I think every year we talk about this later, like after Thanksgiving.
Right, but this is actually the time to be thinking about those things is because even though we're in Florida, corporate America thinks it's wintertime. And finding some of those garden-related gifts might be hard. But I know where I'm at, and I bought one because they went on sale. So it was that some of these little garden gift things where they're overpriced kits, actually, but they're ready. Here it is. You can put a name tag on it to your favorite gardener, and here it is. Or you can look at it and go, oh, you know what? I can put these components together a lot less expensively and give them to them, and maybe in a larger form even. That some of them were little herb garden things that were in like mason jars. Another was like a small aquaponics type thing where it had like the fish bowl and a coupon to get a betta, or I guess a fish, might have been a betta, but had a little tray on top where your plants will be there and the roots will go into down into the water. So, taking a look on some of those, the one I got was the mushroom kit, and I know I could get a big mushroom log. I could order one, and that would provide mushrooms for a much longer period of time, is refillable, etc. Probably for about, I got mine on sale. $10 more probably than what the original retail would have been. So I could have gone bigger for a few dollars, but this was just kind of easy, quick, and cute, and knowing the person's space that they can that they can do as well, because they're in an apartment. So.
What about a plant for somebody's office?
Those are great ideas too. Yeah, I mean, anytime you bring plants in to clean up the air and that, you can. There's all kinds of different house plants.
We have our miracle plant, the pepperonia.
You got the pepperonia. It's that plant is fantastic.
It is, especially considering that I almost killed it one winter.
And it takes like no care, has no problems. It just needs to be watered. And, maybe in another. I don't know.
So where does it get its food from? Just from the light?
From the soil, from the light. Photosynthesis. Yeah, I guess nobody's probably given it anything to eat.
I don't think so.
And when it was potted up, yes, there was food in the.
That was a long time
soil,
ago,
but
right?
Yeah. So.
Ready for another call?
Sure.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Just another Hugh call real quick. Say, when I was growing up, way back up in Wisconsin, my mom was always a plant lover, and in the wintertime in particular, when you had the furnace on a lot and the air was dry, she would go. She had like a spray bottle, and she would mist all her plants maybe a couple of times a week or whatever. I can remember her walking around and doing that. I guess that was pretty important to do it up there.
Because like you say, if you got the heat on and stuff, that's just stealing the moisture out of the air. If you ever notice those first couple of weeks, or even just during the winter, when you've got the heat on, how dry you get, your throat gets dry, dry sinuses and things like that. That's because it's removing the humidity in the air. The little article thing that Larry had printed out says, it's not real effective to do the mister thing. It helps some. Like I said, the saucer, the little plant tray with pebbles in it, and fill that with water is probably a little more effective, especially if it's tucked up in amongst the plants, and then just that with evaporation is putting that moisture into the air in that area.
Yeah. I know up there humidifiers were very common in a lot of homes in the wintertime. I can remember ours are always running. You'd stand next to it, you could feel the moisture coming out of the machine, to help in the house. But I don't think down here you need that.
No, usually we do the opposite, and we have dehumidifiers because the amount of humidity, of course. But in the winter months when we have to run it too is pulling that moisture out. So I know when I've had wood fire fireplaces and things like that, I've put the kettle of water on.
Yeah.
Just so that it just puts some steam. That's what those cast iron kettles were for. Not to make tea, but to keep humidity into the air. And if you're going to bring a live tree into the house, again, caution needs to be done with that as well, of making sure that that's kept moist and not near the register vents, so that you're not blowing that drier air across that tree, not directly at least, so that it doesn't dry out any more quickly than it will on its own.
Yeah, and then again, of course, up north, everybody's got a basement almost, and in the summertime you're dehumidifying, and in the wintertime you're humidifying.
Right,
so
right.
You're always working against the weather.
The weather elements, exactly.
Yeah. So, okay, well, thank you very much again. Have a great Turkey Day.
And to you too.
Thank you. I think we have another call. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann. Well, I must have missed.
Maybe not.
Try back if I disconnected you. I didn't mean to do that.
Or if they might have hung up about the same time. Yeah. It's ringing and ringing and ringing.
So
there's only one line, so if it rings, you just hold on.
The number is 622-9622. If you want to call. There you go.
And this being holiday season, there's. I think what we got, there's like Festival of Lights going on. You've got Light Up Ocala, the Appleton Museum to go see holiday lights and all of those things.
We have
and trees, and there's also holiday plants in all of these things. All the holiday decorations and that are just, get you in the holiday spirit. And,
absolutely, yes, that's part of it. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Yeah, I had a funny little thought, this being the Thanksgiving and harvest season.
Mm-hmm.
I remember some years ago, one of the pasta companies had a humorous commercial about the spaghetti harvest.
Oh.
And it showed all these people going through a grove of trees pulling spaghetti off the branches.
Yes. I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. That was funny.
Yes, it was, because where does spaghetti come from? Well, see, there's the harvest going on.
Yeah. All right. Have a good morning, everybody.
You too.
Thank you. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah.
Thanks for the chuckle, too.
So the other day, when the snowstorm was up in the Northeast,
yes,
they were calling it a winter storm.
Right.
And I thought, well, it's not winter.
No, it isn't. It's a fall.
Autumn storm.
Yeah, it's an autumn storm. It was snow in November in New Jersey, and I saw, because I have friends and stuff up there still, and, family, and seeing how much actually that one friend had on her picnic table, because that's a good measure, because it's a flat area. Right. And it was like, wow, it actually looked like it was an inch or better, or maybe, like
I know,
2 inches.
and it was amazing, because the Bronx had snow.
Yeah. And
Times Square had no snow.
I didn't hear the whole thing. I had an appointment this morning, I told you, and there was a weather report or news report on their TV, and they were saying the coldest Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Is what they're looking at, and and I'm guessing they're meaning the Northeast.
Yeah, not us.
That the Macy's Day or whatever that's going to be.
It's Macy's Day.
Macy's Day Parade is going to be pretty cold.
You have another phone call.
I'm going to watch it.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann. This is Al Nemke, a former master gardener.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've had a little problem. I've got 2 sago palms, and once in a while, when the fronds come out, they end up turning brown. Basically, look like they're dying. But I've got some that's on it that are still nice.
Okay.
But I just can't seem. I don't know whether it's the soil, or actually what it is. I do leave here in the springtime and go up north for 6 months and come back, and sometimes they look fine, and sometimes the new set of fronds are actually brown.
Okay, now they're brown, but have they, or do you know have they ever been coated in the white, the scale?
Not really. I've had some on it, and I have sprayed it for that, but nothing of a serious nature.
Okay.
Put it that way.
The other thing is, are they in full sun?
Yes, they are.
That's your problem.
They are. Okay. Well, they don't get it all day. They do get it in kind of the afternoon.
Yeah,
there's trees around.
That might be why some of those new ones. It could just be that certain years there might not be quite enough rain, or that there's something else stressing it. Most of the time, the sagos really prefer a little more shade in the afternoon. Plenty of morning sun, but afternoon shade is something. So that might be your problem or a possibility on that. How long have they been? They've been in the ground long enough that if it was the soil, the plant would have just begun to decline.
I've had them in the ground. Heavens, Carol, I've had them here for years. So that's not really because I've got one that even put off a pup that's in pretty good size.
Oh, okay, yeah. Palm fertilizers, spring. Maybe before you leave, and then when you come back in the early fall, some of that might help it, just to boost a little nutritionally. Do check the stems. I would probably this time of year make sure that I did spray for the scale, because that scale can actually get in the root system. You can't see it in the root system, and so, that's one of those things we can't tell there. But if you use like one of the horticultural oils, the season long, I don't know if you can buy Volk oil anymore, but this time of year when it's cooler, you can spray that all to the point of runoff and spray the ground around it to help get rid of any of the scale that might be right there at soil level.
I have fertilized at times before we head up north, thinking at least it's got something, but I didn't know whether that was a problem or what. But it just comes and goes.
Yeah, it might just be that one of those little weird things, even depending on our weather. On some of those years, that it gets burnt. Because that's almost what it sounds like, is that it's getting burnt.
Okay, so it's not necessarily anything really specific that I watch out, because
I don't think so.
I don't think it's just it could be a variety of things.
Right, but I would treat for the scale just because it's a problem for sagos, and fertilize at least spring and fall, and then if you're here late enough, into if you're doing it March, we usually say March, June, and September. If you're not here in June, but you're here until middle of May, you can hit it again at that point, and then when you come back in the fall, and just see if you can't get it bolstered up enough that it will, not go through that period, whatever that stress is that's causing that. They can just get the tree past it.
Okay, thanks a lot, then.
You're welcome.
We got about 6 minutes left. If you would like to call in, Carolyn is here to answer your call and say happy
whatever
Thanksgiving.
It is, and sagos are one of those plants, and And I have no control of it. My store has no control over it. It's corporately, they say we get sagos, and I wish we didn't. People like them because they're small, but they have that problem with the scale. Unless you're going to be on top of it, and that scale can get onto the roots, sucking the life out of it, and that could be part of it. Another thing he could do also is find the systemic with the imidacloprid in it. The BioAdvance is one. I know that there's a couple of other, because it's merit is what you're looking for. If you go to the Seminole Feed or somewhere like that, or some of the independent nurseries, they may be able to sell you a product called Merit. That's the imidacloprid. When it's for trees and shrubs, it's a 12-month treatment. So treating it once now is a good time, because it's the plants are growing more slowly. It's going to help. It's not going to totally eliminate that scale. I don't think you can, but you can get somewhat of some help with it. The sagos also do like coffee grounds. So if you are a coffee drinker, or you've got somebody who works at a convenience store, can get you some coffee grounds, get your neighbors or whatever, and putting a good layer of that around there, that also apparently the scale does not like coffee grounds.
That's interesting. Wow.
So
there
are a couple things. So that I'm looking more at the root system on his than now that I'm thinking about it, than the top. That it may be something on that. So if he can get that treated, that get some of that scale away from it, and even though he's not seeing much of it, it can be a stressor.
So the coffee shops have different flavors of coffee. Does that matter?
No, actually, all you want is used grounds. The
Doesn't
flavors,
matter?
it doesn't really matter. Decaf doesn't matter either. It's just, and even at home, say you make your pot of coffee, what I usually tell folks to do is, you finish that pot of coffee. If there's a little bit left, pour that in your container. Make another pot of coffee. It's going to be weak. That's not for you. You can water your plants with that. You can
with
your
the
roses
coffee.
with that coffee. Let it cool, and you can sprinkle the coffee grounds around your plants as well.
And what will that do?
It's certain plants like that. Roses like it.
How about
your
apple
acid
trees? Would my apple tree like it?
Might like a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Not often. It's not something you want to do on a regular basis, but maybe once a month or something.
So some of the leaves have a dusty look to them. What do you think that is?
It could
it's
be
not
a little
dust
bit
because I can't rub it off.
It doesn't rub off. It could be a mildew trying to start on it. Is it outside?
Yeah, it's outside now.
Getting lots of sun. Because you got shaded property. It may have. Yeah, you may have to take some pictures for me, or I may have to come by and see. Yeah,
and I'll put it on the
and we
Facebook
can see
page.
what it is. Yep.
Got about 2.5 minutes left. Wow, time flies, huh?
Well, I'm hoping everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving, and I know they're calling for some rain, so if you're traveling, be careful out there. If you're flying, be patient. Even if you're driving, be patient. Patience is a virtue, and with patience, we all, can get along a lot easier. Realize also that those who work in retail have no control over the quantity of items in the store. The sale prices are the availability thereof. Give them a break. They too are away from their families and not able, that they're having to work on that day that you may be off and are out shopping and having a good time.
So the message there is shop now. Don't wait till the last minute.
Or just, and patience. Just, being realized, that, that parking place, somebody might snatch it from you and go, hey, guess what? I'm going to, drive around one more time and maybe get a better one. So...
Well, what happened to the smart parking places? Remember that was in the news a few years ago?
Yeah, where you could reserve.
Yeah,
parking
your car
places.
would do it for you. You remember,
which was
a lot of stuff hasn't happened.
I think didn't WCA at one year that they were able to reserve 2 or 3 parking places that you had a winner.
Oh, that's right.
Right, for Black Friday.
Yeah, we did have that.
That was kind of neat.
But now that they started having the stores open on Thanksgiving afternoon, that whole thing went away.
So, luckily, Lowe's is closed on Thanksgiving Day. We will be home with our families, and anybody else who has to work. I'm sorry, but bless you all, and and hopefully your family will forgive the company you work for.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Hope you have a good day and some good family time.
Good food.
Anybody coming in from a long distance away?
Nah, just all local.
All right.
So,
do you deep fry your turkey?
Oilless fryer.
Oilless
fryer. Yep.
Wow.
Takes just about as quick as the deep fryer, but no oil to have to deal with.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
I should have asked you earlier.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that. All right. Thank you, Caroline.
You're welcome, Larry. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages.